All right, good evening to all of our viewers in Arkansas, Oklahoma, and in Southwest Missouri. I'm Joshua Weisel here with a look at your forecast. If you hear that loud sound in the background, we got a fan running, and that's fitting because, well, the forecast we got going forward, it's looking pretty warm. So let's show you what we got for tomorrow morning. Lows anywhere from the lower to the mid-70s. Now, keep in mind, tomorrow morning, there may be a chance for some pop-up showers and thunderstorms. I'm not going to show you future scan radar, and there's a good reason for that, and it's because it hasn't done a good job. And when you get these opportunities for these pop-up scattered showers and even some thunderstorms, that it's not going to be widespread. It's hit or miss in terms of its accuracy. So I don't want you to look at the future scan and think, okay, well, that said this, and then there's more. Future scan is not a perfect tool, so we're not going to show you, but I'm going to tell you tomorrow morning, can't rule out some isolated showers and thunderstorms in the morning for parts of the area, especially eastern Oklahoma, northwest Arkansas, and in the River Valley, parts of southwest Missouri as well. Otherwise, another warm and humid start to the day. Now, the good news is we're not expecting widespread fog or really a whole lot of fog activity tomorrow morning, and that's going to be thanks to some ingredients that are becoming less favorable for that activity. We'll show you that with the Foghorns morning fog outlook here in a second. Tomorrow afternoon, pretty much very similar forecast, except this time, most of northwest Arkansas reaching the 90s at this point. There may still be a couple of upper 80s kind of mixed in, but otherwise, we're starting to get into the mid-90s in some locations in the River Valley, lower 90s pretty much area-wide elsewhere, close to some mid-90s in Oklahoma. Here's a look at what we got with the rain chances for the remainder today into tomorrow morning, and there's really not a whole lot of changes. It's very similar over the last couple of days, and overall it's not doing a bad job in terms of that scattered activity that's popping up on the radar throughout the day today. Some of us have seen some shower and thunderstorm activity today. Others, you're probably looking at this going, it rained somewhere? Yeah, I mean, it's kind of that hit or miss activity that we're expecting today, and once again, maybe even parts of tomorrow. Nothing widespread. It shouldn't interrupt those activities, especially for the afternoon activities. Now, keep in mind, some of the farmers markets in the morning, you may want to check the radar from time to time just because, low-end chance for a pop-up shower thunderstorm in the morning. Nothing widespread. It's not going to fully cancel your plans. Additional rain totals could be anywhere from a couple tenths of an inch to maybe upwards of, let's say, about a half an inch to maybe an inch. Really just depends on the activity and the location and how heavy that activity is. And then here's a look at the Foghorns morning fog outlook. Improving conditions. I still can't rule out maybe some patchy fog in some locations. Very isolated compared to the last couple of mornings, but ingredients, they're looking less favorable for that activity. Huge shout out to Foghorns for sponsoring our channel, and shout out to them. Thank you so much for supporting us here at Weather 225. And for the viewers, if you want to support them like they support us, they got locations in Fayetteville and in Springdale. Be sure to check them out, give them some support, and huge thank you to them for supporting our channel. Coming up, we're going to have a look at that extended forecast, and it's looking warm. If you hear that fan running in the background, that's just the start of it because we've got temperatures maybe as high as 103. Hate to say it. That and more here coming up. If you like our media and forecast, be sure to support us today on Patreon. You can advertise with us this storm season and throughout the year. Contact us today for availability and pricing. Weather 225 since 2015. All right, and welcome back. Now that we've looked at the morning fog outlook from Foghorns and we've kind of walked you through what we've got for tomorrow and what we got for tonight, let's go ahead and see the extended forecast beyond the next 24 hours or so. And we're going to start off with the 8 to 14 day outlook for those temperatures, which is still trending well above average. Now, if you're in North Texas, that's going to be a scorcher. I hate to say it, but there's a couple of models that have been very, very aggressive with the temperatures, not only this week, but parts of next week, and then maybe a little bit beyond that. The further out you get, I just want to caution you, you're going to see some stuff on social media. We posted something on the official Weather 225 Facebook saying, here's one model depiction, here's what we think, and here's why we think it's a little bit too, aggressive with the temperatures. And this is why we like to be transparent with you is, you could see the forecast and it could show you 112 in some locations for the actual air temperature. But we're here to tell you, it looks scary, but, in our opinion and forecast assessments and experience and all this, it's probably not going to be that warm, but it is going to be warm, that type of deal. We're here for no nonsense. What is going to be nonsense is the temperatures going forward. I got to say that because, look, it's going to be warm. In fact, there are some models that are indicating that Tuesday in the Oklahoma City area, Tulsa, even parts of the River Valley, there could be some triple-digit heat, maybe as warm as 105. Will that happen? Maybe. I don't think it'll be more than that, but we'll have to wait and see. Definitely the heat index values will be more than that. We'll show you that here coming up. Here's a look at what we got with the precipitation. And right now, kind of sandwiched between the below average and the above average. So in the average range, right? And so we're going to be in that normal range for our precipitation. It's been that way for the last couple of weeks, which is some good news because it doesn't mean that there's no rain chances. It also means that it's not going to be completely, widespread rain or anything like that. So it's not going to be not rainy or rainy. Simply put, it'll be normal. So that's why we got that range going on there. The good news is for the Texas Hill Country, because those floods, I mean, my goodness, our thoughts and prayers are going out to all those who are being impacted by the flooding in the Texas Hill Country. I do have some good news for you who have friends and family in the area, or if you happen to be watching from that area. The precipitation outlook is looking below average by the time we get to the extended forecast beyond the 8 to 14-day range. And that does include the areas that are being impacted by this flooding. So the break's on the way, unfortunately. There's been more rainfall today. So again, our thoughts and prayers are going out to all those affected by these floods. It's a horrible situation going on there, but there is some good news. At least it looks to be drying up pattern-wise, for the most part as we make our way forward. So we'll keep an eye on that. We'll let you know the very latest. Here's a look at what we got with the extended 7-day forecast. And notice, starting to see some upper 90s, maybe some triple digits in northwest Arkansas. And when you see these forecasts, it may make a little bit more sense that the River Valley and Oklahoma are going to be seeing those triple digits because those areas, they hit those levels a little bit more often than parts of northwest Arkansas, right? But we're going to be pretty close to that by the time we get to Tuesday, and we're going to have a little blog post on the website. We'll all go through some more details. We're going to try some things out, and this is why we want your feedback. If you read web articles, let us know because we're going to start trying to do more of those on our website, and we'll detail the weekend forecast, that type of deal. So keep an eye out for that. We'll be working on that. And, the hottest day that we're going to see going forward is likely to be Tuesday. Now, that's not to downplay Monday, Wednesday as well. That's going to be pretty hot area wide, a little bit cooler in northwest Arkansas compared to, the River Valley. Highs on Tuesday still keeping that 102-degree mark right there. And the reason that's important is because we've seen some days where the models are showing that, well into the later stages of the 7-day forecast. And then when you get closer, right, it starts to, cool off just a little bit. It spikes up maybe a little bit, and then it goes back to the, less aggressive range, right? We've seen that a couple of times this year when you look at the 7-day forecast and it said Thursday, Friday, 101, 102. And then by the time we get to the day, it's the upper 90s, right? This is sticking, and this has been consistent the last several days. In fact, there's a chance that it could be even warmer in some locations. Hate to say that. We're not saying this to hype you up, but I do want to let you know if you're working outside early next week, please take your health seriously, your safety seriously. If you're working outside, stay hydrated. Take breaks in the shade. If you know anyone that's impacted by the heat, has any illnesses that are impacted by that, go ahead and check up on them, make sure their AC is working. Same with the elderly, all of that. There's many people that are impacted by these hot temperatures. And so we just want to give you a heads up. Hey, by no means is it going to be, 115 degrees or anything along the lines like you see in Death Valley, California, right? But it is going to be, hope I said that right. I'm blanking out. For where Death Valley is located. I believe it's in California. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. But yeah, we just want to make sure that you have a heads up. If you're impacted by these temperatures, we've got some days to kind of prepare ahead. So again, it's not going to be necessarily the worst heat that we've seen all time in some locations, but it is going to be pretty warm. In fact, the heat index values could be as high as 112. There's some indications that it could be as high as 115. Will it be that warm? We'll have to wait and see. The further out you get, remember, sometimes the models are a little bit more aggressive with those temperatures. But I mean, it's going to be warm in Oklahoma, 103 on Tuesday. Tuesday is going to be by far the warmest day that we have on the 7-day forecast. It's even going to be triple digits in southwest Missouri. So moral of the story is low pop-up potential for some showers and storms tomorrow morning. Again, tomorrow afternoon and evening. Not everyone's going to see that activity. Once again, a low-end potential Sunday, Monday, right? And then early next week, the summer temperatures, they just start to skyrocket. It's just going to be, very warm for the foreseeable future. In fact, there's a chance that going forward for the next couple of weeks, it's actually going to be in the above average range. So prepare ahead. It's going to be that stretch of summer where, I guess we could start to consider it the dog days of summer because it's going to be so warm out there. Take care of yourself. Make sure that you're staying tuned for the latest updates. We'll be here, of course, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And we're going to make sure that, You have all the latest information. Stay tuned. We'll have the latest. And of course, visit our Facebook, everything along the lines there. I've actually been, very, very thankful. I hit over 1 million views since January 1st. You guys have really showed up. So if you want to support us, continue to share, like, follow, share us with your friends and family. If you got a local business, we'd love to partner with you and do some sponsorship opportunities. There's several ways you can get involved. We've got the links in the post on Facebook and also on YouTube, wherever you're watching there. And so, yeah, hopefully you have a great rest of your evening. We'll be here with the latest here coming up tomorrow.